Hello, I am trying something new. I am at the gym warming up for my body pump class. I'm on the stair master mill thing. And I thought, I got a few seconds. I'm going to go ahead and answer the question regarding intuitive eating, my thoughts on intuitive eating. So there's a couple things I want to share. First off, I think intuitive eating by its very idea is a beautiful concept. I watch my boys do it all the time, right? They're very in tune to their body. They've had a good relationship with food from day one. And ultimately, they know when to stop eating and they know when they're hungry. They're really, really good at intuitive eating. I, however, was not from day one in that same boat. As a matter of fact, my first binge eating experience happened when I was 8. So what I wanted to share with you is, having now been a weight loss coach for over 2 years, having worked with many, many people who are overweight, having really researched this topic, this concept of intuitive eating. Now, I want to also clarify, I don't believe intuitive eating is, you can eat from a food template, you could eat portion sizes, you could count calories, but I see intuitive eating more or less being you eat when you're hungry, you stop when you're content, and you eat what you truly want in the moment, right? Trying to be mindful of the fact certain foods feel better in your body. So, that all being said, what I have seen is we do not live in a world that is, I think, conducive to intuitive eating. We are surrounded by highly palatable foods, and if we have not nourished our body correctly through the day, and I've mentioned this book multiple times, if you get a chance, read the book, The Diet Fix by Dr. Yanni Friedhoff. He talks about how we can't cheat our bodies through the beginning of the day with nutrition and then expect that we won't have compensatory eating later on in the day. And because of that, if you're not eating the protein, you're not eating consistently all day long, what happens is come nighttime, you can't control yourself. It's just a physical response. Well, my concern with intuitive eating is, if we come from a background, unlike my sons, who know when to eat, know when to stop, and we maybe abuse food in other ways, we may not be in tune with our hunger signals. I know when I was losing weight, I couldn't have told you when I was hungry, when I was satisfied. Those feelings were foreign to me. I now know them and I can hear them, but I ultimately don't completely trust myself with them because I have more time of abusing it than using it. So that all being said, if we're not eating correctly through the day and we have these compensatory eating behaviors at night, I see more people sabotage than succeed, especially if they're coming from a place of always having weight issues for their entire life. Now, I want to just preface this with, that doesn't mean you can't do intuitive eating. I think intuitive eating, again, is a beautiful concept. But I find for myself personally, I don't want to travel that uphill battle of trying to figure out exactly when I'm hungry, exactly when I'm satisfied, and say I'm not feeling breakfast that day. Well, if it's going to come back as compensatory eating later on at night, and I'm surrounded by highly palatable food, guess what I might crave, right? Highly palatable food. So I'm sharing this with you because I see this as being a couple things. One, as people who might have weight to lose, we already have a battle ahead of us, losing the actual weight, doing the behaviors necessary. But then if we throw on top of it, we should be intuitive eaters. Now we kind of are making the problem doubly difficult, because then we're having to listen to signals that we may not be in touch with in an environment that has highly palatable food. And we may have a struggle with saying no to highly palatable food. We might not realize, if we don't eat every 3 hours and eat a good source of protein, that we might be binging our heads off at night. So this is my feeling on intuitive eating. It's a beautiful concept. I think if you want to spend a lot of time and focus on it and kind of nurture it for yourself, by all means. For people who really have struggled with their weight, maybe have been obese or extremely overweight, I will tell you, just focusing on the weight loss is enough of a battle. You don't need to then throw on top of it the desire to maybe intuitively at that time. Also, I will say your hunger and satiation signals are probably not strong, and you probably will struggle with even identifying those. So I see it as being one of those things that as you progress in this journey, if you want to work on being mindful and practicing, great. And for myself, and I've shared this with other maintainers in the community, the Half Size Me community, what I have seen is struggling with, am I truly hungry? Am I thirsty? What's going on in my body? And it creates a lot of stress for me personally to overanalyze everything I'm feeling and have to really think about all this in relationship to food. Where somebody who's never had a food issue their whole life, they have no problem with it. They just know I'm hungry. For me, it was a very big struggle. I would wait until I got so hungry that I couldn't control myself. So I wasn't at the place where I could sense it early enough to make a wise choice. So in general, my feeling is if you've always struggled with your weight, you're out of touch with those signals, and you really do want to focus on weight loss, you could work on intuitive eating, or you could wait till you get to a maintainable weight and practice it then. I would say the question becomes, do you want to play to your weaknesses or play to your strengths? So for me, I could spend a lot of time trying to fix this one weakness, or I could say, you know what, I'm just going to eat on a meal template, nourish my body well so I don't have to worry about it. So I think it all comes down to your personal goals. But what I have seen more often than not is people are not in tune with their hunger and satiation signals. They're surrounded by foods that are highly palatable, which make it very difficult to do that. And because they're not eating at a consistent rate through the day, they have those compensatory eating behaviors later at night. So those are just some thoughts on intuitive eating. I hope that helps. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.